Hey guys, I am showing you my game Accidit Romae, Monet Romae. It happens in Rome, it stays in Rome, obviously inspired by the Vegas saying. And I just want to show you basically how to run the game because it's just a little bit different than you might imagine. The setup is pretty straightforward. Just realized that's up there. Setup is pretty straightforward. I just thought this would be a pretty thing to see. I have instructions for the kids to see. I'm going to go over the instructions you give. This is what it looks like for the kids when they're playing. And what's kind of cool is you really are all just looking at the same thing. So I actually have it set up currently for a total of 30 students because they get onto a board, 2 players on a board. And I share it on my Google Classroom with everybody able to edit, and they all get on it and they claim a board together and they change their names. You can assign it if you want to. You can be like, okay, go to the board you go to the slide with your Zoom number, or you can put their names in ahead of time, or you can do lots of things to assign it ahead of time. I like for games, since they're competitive, for the kids to go ahead and choose their partners because that just seems a little more friendly to me, but it really is up to you with that sort of thing. Okay, so what I have them do is once they've chosen, they put their names on each side, and then I say, okay, you guys need to decide how much money you're putting in jeopardy. I'm careful about my wording for maybe some obvious reasons for some of you, maybe not as obvious for some of you. I have already basically put layers upon layers of coins. So each of these is actually a stack of 10, so they have 50 coins each. So let's say that this person wants to bet 3, and different groups work different ways. So some of them don't mind putting up more or less than the other. Some of them are like, oh, if you're doing 3, then I'm doing 3, because I am not willing to bet more than you. But maybe I put a 4th one out, and then they'll put a 4th one out. And they're really good about figuring out how to communicate with each other. So generally, if they need to communicate, they'll put a text box up. And I've come in with them going, hey, that was my win. Things like that. So here's what you'll see. If you notice over here, where my pointer is, hopefully you see my pointer, on the side, you can actually see the movement that's going on in each one. Not only that, but when a person is looking at a slide, their head will pop up here. So I literally get to see who is in each room, what kind of activities happening in each room. And during my running of the game, I am literally going between the different rooms, checking on everybody. It's pretty cool because I can do that. While on the Zoom meeting, I can listen for anybody who pops up a voice. I let them unmute their microphones as they need to. And Zoom also lets me know if there's any chats that pop up. So I have all of that going at once as possible means of knowledge input. So I tell them to put their money in jeopardy, and then it's time for me to post a question. So the big question goes, I could just say the question out loud and tell them A, B, C, or D. However, the problem with that is it's really hard to keep all of that information juggled in your head at once. So I really wanted something visual to offer them. And in order to offer that visual thing, I came up with this plan. I can take one of these boxes and copy it. I'm just going to Control C, but you can always right click and copy. And then, and these are all editable pretty easily. You just double click and highlight the information. Then I'm going to go here. And this is actually a slide that I set up on a master. This is where master slide editing, you're going to have a video that shows you how to modify in a couple different ways. But master slide editing is in some ways superior because it allows you to do this type of thing. So it's really good for these types of activities. So if I look at the master for this slide, and again, notice I can still look to see what they're doing over here. So it's really tiny. On my computer at school, it's a little bit bigger because here it's a little tinier than I would like it to be. But I'm looking at this master. I can paste it, and it literally shows up for all of them at the same time. And I can put it there. And so then I read it out loud, and I have it there visually for them so that all of them can see it at the same time. And it literally shows up on all of them because I added it to the master slide. So what's cool about this is that I have the ability to create visuals for them immediately. And at that point, they can decide which answer they think it is and move their coins there. It's possible that, and this is the rule, if they both bet on the same one and they get it right, they get their money back. If they both miss the question, and then they get their money back. But if one gets it right and one gets it wrong, then that person gets all of the money. And that's kind of how it goes. So once you've got that and you've been watching them, remember that you're kind of watching from this view. Go to view, go to master. You're kind of watching from this setup here. And I would like to set the size a little bit, but I can't right now. Yeah. I'm going to zoom back. Fit. There. All right. So I can be like, oh, guys, the answer is too much. I pushed the wrong button. I should push the highlight button. Haha. There we go. The answer is too much. And so then they all get it highlighted. Feel like there's a highlight color on all of them. And then they all can see what happened. So then you take that, you can delete it, tell them to ante up, and while they're anteing up, you go ahead and get the next guy. And what I did actually, because I just sort of wrote questions as they occurred to me, so they are not in a very good mixture, I deleted questions as I got them written. And that way, so like as I used them, I would delete them, and that way I could sort of pop around and not have to worry about accidentally repeating a question. So I'd be like, I'll do this one now, and then I just deleted it from my pile. So you can do that as well. When you have finished playing with the group, and they finish finding out who won, and again, you can just sort of check on how people are doing. What you'll find is some of them will get into fights. When they get into fights, things like this can happen, which honestly is funny and can be seen from a distance. I teach my students to use Control Z a lot because they have to undo the things that they do to make a mess. And also, it's just funny. They're having fun when they're doing these fights, guys. Let them have fun. They're in this weird situation. They're learning online. These like silly competitive things, they create community between the kids, and it's letting them have some level of normalcy in a very unnormal situation. So allow it. But that's how you play. And then when you're done, you can let them count up their stacks of coin and find out who won. And there you go. That is how you play this game. It's fairly straightforward. You literally change this just by going in and typing new words, which is not a word at all. I just missed a letter, but it doesn't matter. And this is literally just a box. So if you did not know this, the shapes in PowerPoint can be modified with text inside them, so you don't have to add a text box on top of a shape. That's it. That is modifying these. And lastly, when you're done and you want to reset the whole thing, and they've been editing it, so you can't Control Z their edits. All you do is you go in here, and you go here, and you restore this version. And there you go. So if you go to the, last edit was done at this time, then you can restore versions that existed. And that is how you create a version that you can reuse over and over again, even after the kids have changed it. So that is the end of this particular instructional video.